Yo, what up? It's your boy Diesel Tyme, and welcome back to another episode of Dummy Cakes. Oh boy, you're like the who saw the 50 Cent halftime show performance. Y'all lucky I didn't come in hanging upside down. Anyways, that's not what we're here to talk about. No. See, we're talking about the news. I'm sure you guys all have seen it. My phone was blowing up with headlines saying Kevin Feige announces that on an official Marvel podcast. This is not some humdum, silly-dilly website just printing out news that they pulled out of nowhere. No. This is from the Lord and Savior Kevin Feige himself, claiming that Avengers Endgame was the final Avengers movie. It is the end game of the Avengers saga. What? The end? But that's silly. I mean, I know Cap is like 100 years old, and Iron Man died, and Black Widow died, and, Hulk is like a nerd now. Thor doesn't really have much motivation. He's all out of shape. I don't know. Maybe he's going to have some Avengers and the Guardians instead of being an Avenger. Point being, the Bulls broke up too. Jordan, Pippen, Rodman, Jackson, they all took off. But there's still a Bulls team. There's still NBA games to be had. The MCU still has films coming out, but with no Avengers? I don't understand the motivation. Not only is there money being left on the table, but the wavering confidence in your fans is going to dissipate once this comes out. I mean, think of it like a stock price. It goes up, it goes down based on the news, based on speculation. You take away your flagship team, the Avengers, your crown jewel. The biggest movies ever made are like the Avengers Endgame and Infinity War with whatchamacallit sandwiched in between. Like, this is crazy to say no more Avengers movies. We're done. Look at the 2005, 2008, 2012. I'm reaching back. I'm pulling this out of my butt right now. Here it is. But you had Wolverine, Luke Cage, Spider-Man. You had this whole roster of Avengers that was not Captain America and Thor and, all the usuals. And it was still the Avengers. You keep the title, you present, characters that we're familiar with. You're building up all these new players. Why not get to a point where Moon Knight is on the Avengers? Why are you not thinking this far ahead? Kevin Feige is supposed to be Mr. 5-year plan. Why not have an Avengers 5, 6, and 7 coming out in the next 5, 10, and 15 years? What are we doing here, man? Come on. So this brings me to a little bit of the problem over at Marvel in general. I think the philosophy has gone from let's build up these old school titles that people maybe are either not that familiar with or less of a fan of, and let's, make them prominently great, like they should be. And they're so high on their own confidence that they can just print their own money that they're not being as creative, they're not being as proactive as, they're not pushing the boundaries like they were, when they first were trying to impress us. They are no longer trying to. They're kind of sniffing their own farts at this point. Look at the Eternals movie. God, it looked like some Lord of the Rings snooze fest. I never saw it. I have a Disney Plus subscription. I could watch it right after finishing this video, but it looks so boring. And there's no Iron Man, no Thor, nothing to make me want to show up. Like previously on Dummy Takes, we've talked about kind of wrestling and comparing it to comic book type of stuff. Like getting your own movie is like getting on the WrestleMania card or being, fighting for a title on a pay-per-view. it's a big deal. You got to, work your way up. You got to do the house shows, get onto television. The fans have to want to buy t-shirts. I had no interest in Eternals going into that movie. I never read a comic. I never saw them in the cartoons. I never saw them in the video games. I had no introduction to these characters. They did nothing to get them over with the fans. They just expected us to show up because it was MCU. And if you had, names on the card, so to speak, like Thor or Captain America, that I could say, oh, Hulk's in this movie. Okay, cool. Like, let me see Hulk do a little quick team up with the Eternals, because that's what I actually care about. And if the Eternals are awesome, then I'll fall in love with these characters too, hopefully. But just from the reviews that came out, I mean, it seemed like it was a very sleepy movie. You got these superheroes who don't save the day. Like, oh, you don't do nothing, huh? That's your superpower? You watch, and there's this big thing that looks like Galactus, but it's not Galactus. I mean, just, it seems like a knockoff Marvel movie almost, to the point that I'm still not interested. And then you got the Black Widow movie, which is like 10 years too late. It takes place after Civil War, if I'm correct. Then that movie should have come out after Civil War, when Black Widow, like, her popularity was peaking. After she dies, she's dead. The buzz has crashed. She's dead and gone. There's no more t-shirts to sell. Why are you putting out a movie? I don't understand the leadership right now. I mean, I honestly feel like they really need to just, bring in the X-Men and start over, like, with no priors. You got, like, Patrick Stewart showing up, I guess, in the trailer for Doctor Strange. This needs to be like Crisis on Infinite Earths. Like, we need to come out of the backside of this with no, like, I'm sorry, Benedict Cumberbatch has been great, but we need to start fresh. We need a whole new batch. Like, make Fantastic Four and the X-Men your priority. Let's start over, because these new characters, these new stories, they're not setting up a new Avengers team that I want to see. Let's be honest. I as much as I said, don't throw out the baby with the bathwater. I mean, maybe we keep the bathwater as in, like, the name Avengers, and let's get a new Tony Stark, let's get a new Steve Rogers, let's get a new Hulk, Widow, everybody. Like, this old one's done anyways. Like, man, it's not as if they haven't rebooted Spider-Man. I don't know. Am I speaking out of school, or are you also kind of tuned out with the MCU? Are you disappointed with the new direction, or you great? I mean, I like the Hawkeye series, but didn't get the best reviews. I was kind of let down by the Loki series, but I showed up because I wanted to see these characters that have been around and that they took the time to build up. Even WandaVision, I wasn't crazy about it. But we had been in this drought. There had been no MCU content, and they at least were Avengers. So just being an Avenger gets eyeballs on the screen. And if you take away that platform, you actually put a ceiling on characters like Moon Knight. There's no graduation. You become an Avenger, and it's like, oh, you're legit now. Like, you're for like a WWE champion. Once you're a champion, even after you lose the title, fans, hey, champ, you're still champ for life. You take away that Avengers, you can, be on the team for a while, get off, and you're still like, you were always an Avenger. You take away that ceiling, and I don't know, you take away reasons for fans to care. And that's reason number one why we're here, It's not just to make money. It's because you're entertaining us. You're giving us something else to do. Otherwise, why shouldn't we be doing something else? So that's been my take. I'm your boy, Diesel Tyme. Obviously, if you got something to say, let me know. I'd love to hear from you. If you enjoyed the video, like and subscribe. More dummy takes to come. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. I hope you're having a good week. Peace.